Are you tired of being poor? If you currently do any of these 5 things, we're very sorry to say it, but you will be poor for the rest of your life.
Think bigger.
Bill Gates once said, "It's not your fault if you're born poor, but it's your fault if you die poor." Every day, thousands of people become millionaires in the world. So the question that remains is, why do most people still struggle just to have the bare minimum? The reasons are many, but you can be sure that a large part of the answer to this question is closely linked to the signs that I'll be highlighting from now on. So pay close attention, because they may be responsible for the mediocre life you have possibly had for a long time.
Military school teaches to work for a mission. What's your mission in life? And making money is really easy. I don't understand what the big deal is.
First sign, you blame other people for your lack of money. Hardly a poor person recognizes that the reason why they've never made it off the bottom of the financial ladder is 100% related to their decisions. I highly doubt that you have ever heard someone say like, "I'm responsible for being poor." And this is because the truth and the weight of responsibility are often not pleasant. It hurts too much to know that we are solely responsible for creating an unpleasant living situation. So the easiest and most convenient thing to do is to lay the blame onto another person or circumstance. It's easier to say, "My parents never taught me how to earn money. The problem is that I always studied in public schools. I was born in a slum. It's the government's fault for not giving me opportunities. It's my husband's or wife's fault for not helping me." Anyway, the list is almost endless. And yes, it is true that factors like these hinder the process of a person's enrichment, but they definitely do not make it impossible. Two people may have been born and raised under the same conditions. One might get rich and one might not. This has happened, happens today, and will continue to happen. And the main difference between these two groups of people is where each one puts their focus. In cases like these, what typically happens is that while one focuses on the lack, on the unfavorable conditions, on the injustice, on what others will think, on why it had to happen to him, and on how much his life sucks, and the other group focuses on the possibility, on his motives, on what he will need to learn, on how hard he will need to work, on how temporary that unpleasant situation is, and on how much he is capable of turning the game around if he puts above average dedication into what he sets out to do. The fact is that wherever you put your focus, you will feel, see, and hear more of it. In other words, you will attract what you focus on. And if you are putting your focus on hoping that the world or people are going to change for you, good luck, because you're probably going to have a very difficult life. In psychology, there is a term called self-conviction bias, which is a mental phenomenon that affects all human beings to a lesser or greater degree. This phenomenon means that while on one hand we tend to attribute our successes to internal factors such as intelligence, effort, etc., on the other hand, we tend to attribute our failures to external factors such as bad luck or the incompetences of other people. This is why it is so easy to blame others for our negative results, because this protects our ego. But as long as you don't take responsibility for absolutely everything in your life, be it good or bad, you will never be the captain of the ship of your life, but a mere sailor who just passively watches his ship being tossed from side to side by external events. If you feel that you are at rock bottom, recognize that you put yourself there, then only you can pull yourself out of this situation. Until you recognize this, you will spend the rest of your life waiting for someone to throw you a rope and help you climb back up. Second sign, you may say that money is not important. There is no greater naivete than to say that money is not important, but it is also not true to say that it means everything. Even the famous author of the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, has the following sentence that sums it up well. Money is not the most important thing in the world, but it affects all the things that are important. You have to understand that depending on what your beliefs are regarding money, they will be bringing you closer or further away from it. So I ask you, what are your beliefs about money? Well, rich people understand the importance and impact that money has on society. On the other hand, poor people validate their limiting thoughts by using irrelevant comparisons. No negative thought lives in your head for free. You are the one who ends up paying for their stay. And as you've grown up, chances are you've been contaminated by society's limiting, narrow-minded, victimized beliefs such as money is the root of all evil, rich people are corrupt, greedy, and selfish, or the richer a person is, the less they have left for others. And the problem is that when a person adopts this kind of belief and reproduces it with a certain frequency, he or she further and further pushes away the possibility of one day becoming rich. After all, how can one become what one repudiates? Some even say, I'd rather be poor and honest than rich and dishonest. But who said we only have these options? Stop and think. Are there rich and dishonest people? Of course there are. Just as there are poor and dishonest people. Are there unhappy and depressed rich people? Yes, but there are many more poor people in the same condition. Money does not change a person. It only shows you who you really are. Money gives a power that can be used for both good and bad, just like a knife, which can be used either to butter bread or to kill someone.
Because most people are brainwashed when it comes to money. Go to school, get a job, work hard, pay your taxes, save money, get out of debt, buy a house, and invest in the stock market. Everybody who follows that program is been brainwashed.
Third sign, you buy things that you cannot afford. Many people spend money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. It's amazing how so many people live their lives trying to impress others with their possessions, even if they have to go into debt to do it. You cannot live this way if you want to get rich one day. It is necessary that you resist the impulses to buy things for status reasons only whenever money comes into your account. Do you really need to have the latest cell phone released? Do you really need to pay 3 times as much for a piece of clothing just because of a printed symbol on it? It is important that you ask yourself these questions before spending your hard-earned money. Most millionaires don't live the glamorous, ostentatious lifestyle that you see in movies or even on Instagram. Please don't think that they act as if money is infinite, because many of them live below the standard of living they could enjoy. They follow their pre-established budgets, invest intelligently, and only buy what they can really afford. So to summarize, spend less trying to impress others and more trying to impress yourself. Fourth sign, you have a scarcity mindset. If you see money and the world in general with a scarcity mentality, the chances are you will never build wealth. If you believe that for you to make money, someone else has to lose, that there is not enough for everyone, or that you get happy when someone else fails because now there is one less to take your place, it becomes very difficult to accumulate large amounts of money because you will sabotage yourself along the way. What you need to cultivate is an abundance mindset, which instead of being guided by fear of losing, is guided by the will to win. That way, understand that when you get rich, you don't take from others. On the contrary, you contribute more wealth to society in general. The fact is that you will be much more able to contribute to the world if you are rich than if you are poor, because the poor person has to provide the basics for himself. The rich person, on the other hand, besides providing the best for himself, still has the possibility to help many other people. Fifth sign, you have already conformed to your reality. To leave a reality of poverty and go to a reality of wealth, you first need to be unhappy, dissatisfied with not having enough money to provide the best for your family, with returning products at the supermarket, dissatisfied with having to depend on public transportation, dissatisfied with having to drive a car falling apart. In short, disagree with everything that bothers you, for only then will you have reasons to change. Otherwise, you will remain in the same situation forever.
Well, everything is the opposite of what they're teaching you in school. I wouldn't go to school. I would study money. I understand.
Yes, because they don't teach money in schools.
Correct.
A conformist is a person who has already accepted his or her own reality and therefore has no reason to change. Nonconformity can generate a powerful energy for your enrichment because when you transform what bothers you into energy to move towards change, practically no one can stop you.
Did you know that billionaires wear the same clothes every day for a very specific reason? Watch our next video to find out why.
Think